for tourists. No one could afford to live there anymore. A lot of my friends had moved out to Brooklyn, to Williamsburg, because it was more affordable to raise a family there. And I just found myself very bored.
It was a fun city. Okay, how difficult was it then having... Sorry, but I'm just curious. We only have 20 minutes or 10 minutes left.
Keep it going,
Okay,
because I'm talking about bored married people going to Williamsburg is boring, actually. I just realized that. So, keep it going. Get to the good stuff.
I'm just amazed that you say it was a fun city, because then it must be very hard to write about L.A. as if it is a living nightmare in the figuranten imperial bedroom.
And for a while it was a living nightmare for me. I was making a movie there. I had written and produced a film called The Informers that turned into a kind of nightmare. And so during the time I was writing Imperial Bedroom, yes, the world seemed very dark to me. And yes, it was reflected in the novel I was also working on at the time. I don't think I would write Imperial Bedrooms now. I don't think that book would seem that important to me. But it seemed very important to me, and I was very obsessed with expressing whatever my blackness was at that time in a novel. But overall, there's also fun times. There's also a lot of creative people in Hollywood. Imperial Bedrooms is kind of about the quote-unquote evils of the casting couch. I think the casting couch is the best part of Hollywood. It's one of the main reasons you should move there. It's very fun. It's not a problem. Clay in Imperial Bedrooms turns it into a big drama because he's a drama queen, I guess. But it's there's a light side to LA too, and a creative side as well. Imperial Bedrooms investigates the dark side of it.
How did it feel meeting Clay after so many years, after Less Than Zero? Wasn't it risky? So many people are attracted to Less Than Zero as a legend in its own.
Yes.
And then you write a sequel. That's kind of risky.
No, I didn't feel it was risky at all, because I have a very different relationship with Less Than Zero than, say, this audience does, any audience does. I mean, I worked on Less Than Zero for 4 to 5 years when I was a teenager and while I was in university, and I never even thought it was going to be published. It was just something I wanted to work on. And the fact that it's been around now for 25 years and it has 25th anniversary editions in the UK and in the US, I'm amused. I'm very amused by that. I have a very different relationship with that book that I worked on and did 4, 5, 6, 7 drafts on during those 5 years than the audience does, who reads that book in 2 hours and it means something to them and they latch onto it. I never expected that book to be published. So in terms of going back to that character, no, it wasn't that risky. I didn't feel it was that risky at all, because I don't look at Less Than Zero the way the audience does, or the way my publishers all over the world do, as something that I guess makes the money, that they sell many copies of, whatever. I see it as something very personal and something I worked on, and I don't see it as Less Than Zero. I see it as that project that I worked on for a little while when I was a teenager. So going back to Clay, no. And also it was interesting to go back to Clay because he's a very different person now. He's not the same person he was in the first book. So it was all very interesting to me.
And Imperial Bedroom starts with not only with the movie Less Than Zero, in which everybody has dark hair. Helene, hebben wij een stukje Less Than Zero, de movie, voor ons, voor iedereen die de film niet kent. En ik geloof dat iedereen...
Julian? Julian?
Guys, be careful, you're gonna scare somebody. Nothing, a little...
Let's get him to the hospital.
No!
I'll handle it! Come on, okay? It's safe inside, it's home, we're going home now, okay?
Let's lie down right here.
No, come on, it's safe here. Come on in, okay? See? Okay. See? Woohoo! Okay.
Wait, I gotta go. Rick's looking for me.
That's a very well-directed sequence. It has nothing to do with my book whatsoever. That scene's not in the book at all, but it's kind of well done, and Downey is very committed to that role. But Julian is not like that in the book at all. And
I think that's the experience of a lot of viewers from the movie.
But
we see a movie called Less Than Zero, but what does it have to do with the novel?
Well, it has nothing to do with the novel. But
so that's why you killed it in Imperial Bedrooms. It was
yeah,
killing,
I guess
more or
I
less.
did. But the book was about movies,
killing.
and I was like, I don't know why I did what I did. I don't know. But I like that music a lot. I like the score. I like all of the music in Less Than Zero, the film, and I like the score that Thomas Newman orchestrated for that film. And I love Ed Lachman's photography in the movie. The movie's really beautiful. It's one of the few movies of that era about youth culture that is very dramatically lit and beautifully shot. And so I have a kind of sentimental feeling about the movie, even though it has absolutely nothing. I just got a text. Even though it has nothing to do with the book that I wrote.
But then again, it had to be killed in Imperial Bedrooms. Why?
What had to be killed?
The movie. The movie had to be killed.
Are you having fun in front of the audience in Amsterdam? This is a friend of mine in LA just asked me this. I'm going to tell him yes. Yes, I am. That's so funny that he knew that I was doing this at this time. Okay, yes.
Okay.
What else are we talking about?
Tomorrow evening, for all Bret Easton
very
Ellis. Well, there's Peter Steins in the West Indies house, and there you have a conversation, I think, of two times 45 minutes. We only have 20 minutes.
I know, I dread it.
So it's already the final question.
I dread it.
Back in 1999.
Oh no.
Back in 1999. Let's have this final question,
okay,
because I was amazed rereading it.
All right, yes, let's do it.
I was amazed rereading this. In 1999, we had a conversation about Glamorama, and you were mentioning in this interview, when I was thinking about what people in the US are most frightened of.
This was in 1999.
It was in 1999.
Okay.
When I was thinking about what people are most frightened of, it is not war, it is terrorism. Where could terrorists attack successfully? It's the fashion world, and that's where Glamorama started. Having mentioned this in 1999, you're a prophet in your own right now.
I know.
Are you going to write about the world?
Applause, please. Applause. Yes, because the fashion world blew up everyone, right? That's really what. I was such a prophet. I couldn't, I guessed it right. What is the question to that? What is the...
Well, I thought about it, and I thought, let's mention it, because it was typical.
Well, listen, I think Glamorama is more prescient about reality television. I mean, that's the one thing that I was very surprised about, that I thought I was the only one who was really, caught on to that at the time, was that in Glamorama, as you read the book, you realize that everyone has their own film crew following them, and that this could be a giant movie or reality show. And I had taken that cue from my interest in The Real World, the MTV show, and I thought, oh, applause, I'm a big fan here in the for The Real World. And so that was, when that exploded, I thought, God, that was something that I had not foreseen. And then, I don't know, what made me answer that question about terrorism at that time? I guess there was something in the air.
Well, there is some terrorism plot in Glamorama.
Yeah, I know. That's what
it all about.
I was also thinking that there was bound to be something that was going to happen in America, and I don't know why I was thinking this, but that was one of the reasons why I wanted to write that novel. It's so strange.
At that time, you also said something about the plot in a novel. You said plot is boring, plot is kitsch, plot is camp. Oh. And now you have, in 2010, a really true plot-driven novel.
I have a novel written by a screenwriter. I have a novel narrated by a screenwriter. And each novel that I write is given over to the narrator. And so in this case, when I realized who Clay was, that he was probably a screenwriter, I realized that he was going to probably tell this story as a screenwriter. It was going to be very, very short, very concise, written almost like a screenplay, with very little description, very cinematic dialogue, very expository dialogue. The dialogue in this book is not like the dialogue in my other books. The dialogue in this book is moving story forward. The problem is that the Clay character of Imperial Bedrooms, this book could have been 10 pages, but he doesn't ask the right questions because he's too self-involved. If only he asked 4 or 5 right questions about what people did or what their motives were, we would not have this tragic thing going on in Imperial Bedrooms. And that was interesting to me as a portrait of the study of a narcissist, which is really ultimately what I think Imperial Bedrooms is. And
a narcissist heading towards his mental, emotional collapse.
Yes.
At the end, but
I've been
just
there.
before
I've
the
dealt
end,
with that.
you
Yes.
dealt with it before.
Not as
the
badly
end.
as Clay
At the end of
has.
the novel, we have this dream-like
It's not a
sequence
dream,
or
Joost.
snuff
We've
movie.
talked about this.
We talked
It's
about
not
it
a
yesterday.
dream.
Well, we all want to
He
know.
asked me if
At the
he says it's
end
a
of
dream.
Imperial
The
Bedroom,
shocking sequence
the
at the
shocking
end
sequence
of
with the young girl and the young man. Is it American
it's not a dream. It's
Psycho-esque?
real. It's
Okay,
happened.
it's real. So the master tells itself. It's a real ending. It's not a snuff movie. It's not
It's
some sort
really
of
happening, yes.
It's not some sort of a American Psycho-esque morbid fantasy.
No, it's not. It's really happening.
So now we all know. He said it himself. It's
really
a
happening.
real
It's
ending.
better that way. It's better if it really is happening. If it's like a dream or a fantasy, it makes no sense. Like he really does do this. He takes these younger versions of himself, of the boy that he once was, and tortures them.
So he steps into Less Than Zero again, something like
Well,
that.
to a degree, the seeds were sown in Less Than Zero to create this character of Clay. I always thought that Clay committed crimes in Less Than Zero. I thought his passivity was a crime. I thought the fact that he didn't call the police on the boys raping the 12-year-old was a crime. I thought him not stopping his friend from being a prostitute was a crime. And then there were very many smaller moral crimes that Clay was committing because of his passivity. Here he's much more active in criminal activity, and he's much more active in the crimes that he commits. Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot, and I was thinking about what kind of boy turns into the man that Clay is.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this when we're having a croquetje at Febo, because I think we're at 20 or 30 minutes now, and I'm pointing out now at Roland Fernhout and Mr. Bret Easton Ellis. Thank you very much for this
You're very
conversation.
welcome.
And let's go ahead.
All right.
Roland.
Thank you.
We are coming back, huh?